Your behavior creates more resistance than the world ever could. While focusing on external obstacles, your internal patterns are lagging behind your intentions. You see the results in the graveyard of unfinished projects and the folders full of business ideas that never launched. You start with energy, but that energy eventually curdles into chronic procrastination. The gym membership you bought in January sits unused by February. You tell yourself the schedule got too busy or the timing was wrong, seeking any explanation that avoids looking at the recurring cycle. Observe the timeline. You are not experiencing isolated setbacks. You are caught in an identical loop that restarts the moment you reach the threshold of real progress. Most people never realize they're doing this. They remain convinced that failure is something that happens to them, rather than something they are actively, subconsciously building. Chronic frustration acts as a clear signal. It indicates that your conscious desires have run into a deeply rooted psychological mechanism designed to stop you. To break the cycle, we have to look past the lack of discipline. Self-sabotage functions as a misguided survival tool, protecting you from the one thing your brain hates more than misery: the unknown. Your brain prioritizes predictability over happiness. Evolution taught us that the familiar environment, no matter how painful, is safe because we survived it yesterday. Change, even positive change, represents a threat to that safety. Whenever you attempt to expand your life, the brain pushes back. It uses anxiety and doubt to pull you back into the enclosure where it can accurately predict your survival. This creates cognitive dissonance. The internal tension rises until you either change your behavior to match your old boundaries, or you abandon the goal entirely to regain a sense of peace. Your subconscious mind would rather you fail predictably than succeed in a way it doesn't recognize. It orchestrates your defeat to maintain the familiar state it understands. This need for predictability manifests as an internal identity blueprint. Your brain keeps a record of who it thinks you are, a procrastinator or a quitter, and it uses this record to automate your future actions. If your external success begins to exceed this internal blueprint, the brain views the discrepancy as an error. It triggers small tactical mistakes, missing a call, skipping a session, to bring your reality back in line with your self-image. This is the core rule of human behavior. Your actions follow the identity you believe about yourself. Most people try to bypass this rule using willpower. They use motivation to force their way through the resistance, ignoring the fact that willpower is a finite resource that eventually runs dry. Relying on motivation ensures that the moment your mood dips, the old identity blueprint takes over. Changing your habits without addressing this underlying identity leads to an inevitable relapse. You're trying to build a new life on a foundation that doesn't recognize you. Trying harder is not a strategy. To change the output of the machine, you have to provide the brain with a new set of data that proves a different identity is possible. You must prioritize your identity before your goals. This requires moving past temporary emotions. You cannot wait to feel like the person you want to be. You have to provide the evidence first. One way to force this shift is by introducing friction. By making failure physically more difficult than progress, you bypass the need for willpower. You make the old destructive patterns cost more energy than the new ones. Simultaneously, you must track every small promise you keep. Each completed task acts as a data point. Over time, this stack of proof becomes undeniable to your subconscious. You do not think your way into a new personality. Action must precede the feeling. You act your way into a new way of thinking. Confidence is not built by affirmations or hype. It is built by tangible evidence. Your history of failure does not mean you are broken. It means your brain's survival systems are functioning exactly as they were designed to. You are not doomed to repeat this. Once you recognize the mechanical nature of your sabotage, it becomes a pattern you can dismantle. The responsibility to break the loop is yours. You shift the blueprint not through grand gestures, but through the evidence of your daily choices. To continue the process of rewiring your mind and reclaiming your focus, subscribe to PsychPeak. Every promise you keep today is a strike against the internal pattern that has held you back. Start building the evidence.